Hello. Hi, I'm Raymond, A-Block Merdeka Generation member.
Hello.
Okay, actually I have two questions, but it's posed to all the candidates. Okay, my first question, right, it's for the Social Service Director. Okay, but before that, I want to thank you all for stepping up, for having the courage to step up. My first question is to the Social Service Director. I would like to nip something in the bud. In your speech, you said that in terms of social media presence, Yusof is a sports hall. I did a quick check. Of the last 90 posts on at Yusof Hall, 40 of them were sports posts. Out of that, which is 44.4% of it. So I don't think it gives a very nuanced and balanced and fair view towards the other committees. Okay, so I think it's very important because in terms of impression management, if we allow these kind of impressions to keep festering on, it will be very hard for us to shift what our goal for Yusof is, which is to be a more all-rounder hall. So with regards to social media presence, you mentioned a lot about Instagram and etc. for the social service side. So I want to clarify something, or I want to understand something. So for your role as a social service director, what's your main objective? Is it to publicize social services, or more of like making sure that these programs are being run efficiently with sufficient attendance? More sort of, for lack of better phrasing, behind the scenes. Okay, so can I go to my second question? Yeah, okay, my second question is to the external VP candidates and the president. Okay, so we are reaching towards the end of the academic year, which means that the freshman intake is coming in soon. So it's very imperative that we find something to differentiate Yusof from the other 5 halls, the other, sorry, 6, oh my god, GB house, I'm sorry. First-hand experience at Sports D, we lost a lot of potential talent to other halls because basically they can't find a solid enough reason to choose Yusof Hall, because I don't think we have done a very good job in terms of differentiating ourselves with other halls. So my question for the 3 of you is, what do you think is Yusof's biggest strength? Or rather, what do you think is Yusof's best thing for us to promote? Because I believe that everyone here is also trying to put their juniors in as well. And it's not just only in terms of freshman intake. I think, as what Vishen mentioned earlier, in terms of sponsors, how are we going to attract sponsors to choose us instead of other halls? So yes, that's my question to the 3 candidates. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Raymond. Okay, is everyone got that? Okay. Anyone like to answer first? Okay, thanks for the question. Yeah. So, you addressed like 2 points. So basically, one on social media, and the other one of the smooth running of my programs. So, yes, actually, what you mentioned is true. By right, I should have corrected myself. When I said 90%, right, it's actually sports and DB, if you take a look at this. So, my committees, right, I feel that they are marginalized. You know, they are completely pushed aside, you know, overshadowed by these 2 events. And you know, some of you might say that, hey, we don't have many major events. Well, this is something I disagree. You know, when you look at, you know, Minds, we had the Tour and Rock. You know, I felt that should have been featured on our social media, you know. I think our kids, Nico and Zilo, they actually worked really hard on it. You know, it's a very large-scale event. You know, we had to get people from 2 different centers, get the clients from 2 different centers, you know, have them come to NUS, have a tour. You know, we had 3 different shifts of Yusofians come and conduct it. You know, and then when you look at, you know, ES, we had a Chinese New Year lunch. Yeah, but then there was no feature. You know, it was actually graced by my blog's RF, Mr. Mark Teng. Yeah, but then where was the feature, you know? Where was, you know, our chance to have a voice? I think that's the reason, you know. We are always seen as something as secondary. You know, when you ask someone, you know, what is Minds do? It's like, oh, it's a secondary CCA. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I ask all of you right now, you're like, you know, what's your most memorable CCA? No, it's probably a sport or a DP, right? Yeah, but for me, you know, I'm proud to say this, it's actually elderly service. And this is the thing, like, I want to inculcate this spirit, you know, of community service within all of the Yusofians. Okay, and to the second point, right, of the smooth running of program, I'm aware of this. I'm aware that attendance is really poor, especially when it comes to elderly services and Minds. Elderly services and Minds. Salvation Army, not so much. And I think that if I were to be elected, right, I think I need to be hard on the heads regarding this. So my idea is that there will be interviews conducted prior to accepting members and halfway through. So if we take a look at you, we'll be firm. I would say if your attendance is, there's some people who don't even attend. They just join for the sake of joining. And if you have zero attendance, you'll be cut. End of story. We want to give other people a chance, to join these CCAs. And also, like I said, we will interview you prior to it to see whether you're suitable or not. But I think you asked me which was more important. I do feel that, it's not about which is more important. I do feel that, these two things are extremely important to me, and I can work on them, have my workload split evenly with these two issues. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Wei Kang. Okay, so let's address the second. Oh, okay, sure. Can you pass the mic to her?
Hello. Okay, thanks, Wei Kang. Good. Very nice answer you gave. But so I wanted to ask in regards, I hope, or what, I don't know what other plans you have besides just getting your EVC or events on the Instagram page. I see that's a good first step to getting the word out, getting publicity there. So I hope that it's not just your end game, just to end game next week. It's just, I hope that's just not your end goal, just to get an Instagram post up. So I want to know what other plans do you foresee you doing to try and get the hype up for this EVC site so that it's more recognizing you? So
Thanks for your question. So I actually mentioned in my previous speech, right, that my ideas revolve around the keyword here is integration and collaboration. I think this is extremely important. So I mentioned that we can have collaboration not only within the committees I manage. So I think Grant a Wish, that's an example of a collaboration. We had the EVC at Three Wings, right, came together and organized the event. So now there are many exciting prospects we can have. We can have Greencom collaborate with Salvation Army, for example. That was actually done. I think Patient mentioned it, but it was, we had Greencom collaborate with SBT. Yeah, the terrarium workshop. Yeah, but then recently it was scrapped. I'm not sure why. So yeah, we can have Greencom collaborate with Salvation Army, maybe do something a hike or something for the kids. That'll be exciting. What's not stopping us now? Like I said, we can have DP come in, perform for some of the EVC groups. But I know it'll be a challenge. This is the thing. There'll definitely be manpower issues, financial issues. But I do think with these ideas, right, and me proposing these ideas, we can find a way to actually conduct these activities. And also, moving on, I think I wanted to, Patient actually mentioned this, right? Has to do with something called an event day. So it will be at the start of the semester, okay? And what is this? It's a compulsory event, right? Where each block, right, will have to, it's compulsory for everyone to attend, right? And it's basically 1 day of community service. And maybe introduce them to the three EVC CCAs that we have. So those are my plans. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Wei Kang. Okay, can we have the other three candidates to answer the second part of Freeman's question? Yeah, so what is Yusoff's strengths and how will you promote that to differentiate Yusoff from the other 6 halls?
I think being Yusoff Hall, right? The unique selling point of Yusoff Hall, Aaron mentioned, was excellence, the attitude that we take when we do different stuff, be it sports and culture and committees. And I think we have moved away from the label of sports hall, so I think that we should market ourselves as being good in all the aspects, and that is what how we differentiate ourselves from other halls, not just in terms of how do I, as it, okay, wait. Yeah, I guess it's not just about coming to hall and trying new things also. It's just coming to hall, trying new things, finding out what you're good at, and being committed and being able to contribute back to hall in that sense. If you're looking for that kind of, and I'm sure that we are looking for that kind of residents in to come into Yusof as well. So I think that is how we would like to market ourselves. Did that answer the question?
Okay, so actually, yeah, that's an interesting point. I actually struggled to find the answer because one thing I see, right, is actually that the quality of residents in Yusof actually comes partially from this lack of publicity for the hall. What it does, right, is that people don't come to hall for something. They don't come here to play sports. They don't come here to dance, to maybe be cool. Okay, like Yusof is not known as a cool hall lah. We are cool lah, but like publicly, like we're not seen that way lah. In comparison to other halls, like I'm sure you all feel it, can see this. Yeah. So part of the delight, right, is that residents come in with instead of looking for meaning, right, they find meaning in hall. Yeah. So how exactly we can market this, right, is that these residents are good character lah. Yeah. It's not that these residents are especially talented or but it's that they came to a place where they expected to just have a room to stay, but what they did was find meaning, find commitment, yeah, and these are things that we can leverage through relationships. In terms of hall publicity, most of the people who stay in hall and retain in hall are people who have built relationships with people in hall. Yeah, so ultimately, if we want long-term quality residents, right, we need to leverage on relationships. How we market that is difficult, for sure. Yeah. In terms of marketing to sponsors, an important thing that I actually want to focus on, right, is moving away from, not completely, but maybe shifting the priority of sponsorship away from one-time sponsors. You know, hey, we have this one event, we need some sunblock, right? What's the point? Really, what value does that bring to the hall other than sun protection? What value does that bring to the organization? What I want to move towards is attempting to build more long-lasting, more meaningful relationships with these sponsors so that once there's a kind of level of commitment and understanding between the two, we can start to provide to each other in bigger ways. Yeah, this will bring more benefit to both lah. And ultimately that's better for the hall. How we can leverage again on the character of residents, character of our residents is by taking small opportunities from sponsors that can provide more, promise of providing more, showing them that we are a hall of residents who promise something, deliver it, and can bring value to you and your organization. So building from there, subsequently, we can have a stronger working relationship. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Wishan.
Okay, actually, yesterday Raymond kind of like mentioned this question to me, and then we sort of like have a discussion. So honestly speaking, yeah, it's like the other candidates said, it will be difficult to brand Yusof, and like what me and Raymond talked about yesterday is also like the only thing that Yusof has is our supper stretch and the bus stop, which is quite saddening, as in like to use it to promote Yusof lah. So, as in, okay, but the thing is, as of now, okay, in my 3 years here, I feel that support for events and stuff is like generally decreasing lah. Cause as a year one in Yusof, I felt that was my best year in Yusof. As in like if you can see some of the photos that Yusof Works have taken for match support, year one was really the greatest lah. Then slowly all this match support is like decreasing throughout the years, which like makes me wonder why like, sometimes. So I feel that like to market ourselves, actually it doesn't just start with the JCRC, but it also starts with all the individual leaders. As in like, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of leaders here, and we all have different purposes in hall. But like, I feel that as leaders of Yusof, we need to like have a common goal and how do I put this? Like have a common goal in mind. I mean, I'm sure every comm has things about what's best for their own comm. But the thing that I feel that is
happening recently to Yusof is that because everybody is just thinking for themselves, the support from other committees and other Yusofians are slowly decreasing. That's why we don't see, as in we still excel individually in our own comms, but we don't have the image of being a supportive force towards each other, both through our match supports and even in our internal events lah. So to me, I feel that to market Yusof, we should start with our own leaders lah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Zua. Okay.
Okay, let's say you got one incoming freshman that you're texting and trying to convince him or her to come to hall, and they're saying, this president or whatever from hall X is also texting me. So like, you can't say, oh, we've got good hall leaders, like every other hall is going to say that. So like, just maybe in like just 2 sentences, like you're going to drop him or her text, what is it you're going to say? Like, because these are not just what we want to hear, but it's things that especially Hui Xin you're going to have to, if you get this role, you're going to have to deal with. So that's why we want to hear how is it you're going to angle it. So just very briefly in 2 sentences, maybe let us know what is it you feel you want to sell to a person who's deciding between Yusof in another hall. I think that's what Raymond wants you all to think about when he posed this question.
Okay, maybe you can move on to answer the question at a later point. So maybe give the candidate some time to think. So let's have a different question for the meantime. Yeah, Benji first.
Hi, I'm Benjamin, year 3 E block. Okay, I have 2 questions for the house today. So the first question will be pertaining to Hui Xin. Okay, so as a future president, okay, after undergoing like GEP 1034 and more critically on the core and elders critical framework, okay, so this kind of question is actually I want to know like your responses. So okay, in your speech, okay, you mentioned like great movement in cultural, okay, and sports. Okay, what are your tangible goals for the social services, knowing that one of your potential candidates is talking about the lack of awareness of social services events and promotion in Yusof Hall. So perhaps you can provide us some tangible KPIs, okay, for the social services, culture and sports at the end of your term. So what are these goals that you have in mind? Okay, yeah, so can you provide us with a clearer picture in that view? Okay, for our second question, I'd like to address the question to Zihua. Okay, so as a future Vice President for External Relations, okay, could you share with us how your previous committee roles or captain roles have helped you to better prepare for the proposed role that you're going for today? So like, for example, what are the tangible qualities from this experience have shaped you, and what can you use it to evaluate the 32nd JCRC? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Benji. Okay, Hui Xin, should I answer the first question, or should I take some time to think about it first? Yeah, sure.
Okay, okay, as some of you might know, I was, okay, this is my second time running. The first time was when I ran for blogging. So, okay, I've done a couple of stuff in hall. I think I've experienced sports, I've experienced culture, I've also experienced social service this year. So, I've also taken up both leadership roles and membership roles. So, in a sense, I feel like I've done both on the ground stuff, like what the heads tell me to do, and I've also been in the perspective of planning, and hence this will help me as like for this role as VP, as I can empathize with both the members and also the leaders themselves, and as in this will make me become more objective towards my views and my decisions as VP lah. So okay, this as in I know this is not really related to my main role as VP external, but one of the other goals as VP is like to aid Hui Xin in her endeavors as president. So I think that this past experiences will help me come up with better decisions together with her as well. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you, Zua. Hui Xin, would you like to answer the first part of the question?
I'll answer like Ben's question. So like in terms of like tangible KPIs for the sports culture and comms, I think this is just not like solely up to me to set like what are the KPIs. And I feel like this has to come from like the different perspectives of the sports, like the sports, the culture, and the community heads and like the social service directors to come together and really to let me know like what they would like to achieve as well. And then from there, like I would take the position to try to like see how these goals can complement each other or like how to enhance these goals better. And I think that is my role as the president, instead of giving them KPIs or like, oh, like this, like sports should achieve this, culture should have this turnout, it's like SEA or whatever, and then like SSD should have, social services should have this number of events. I think that is not like solely up to me, yeah, and I wouldn't want to run the team like that. And in terms of like, I guess the overarching goal would be just to have more support for each other, like in terms of like physical support or like logistical support. That's why it boils down to intercom collaboration again. Yeah. So that is what that is the goal that I hope to set if I were the president.
Okay, thank you, Wei Sing. Okay, we have one question from Amos.
Yep. Amos from C Block. Okay, since Zila and Hui Xin had to go at the question, my questions will be directed to Wei Kang and Wei Xuan. So to Wei Kang, who's running for Social Services Director, I think that if I'm not wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, that most Instagram pages are created by the heads themselves. Okay, but that's not my question. My question will be that every year this comes out as a problem that for social services, especially EVC, attendance during holidays such as summer exam periods are the weakest because we have finals before we are out for holidays, but service doesn't only happen during the semesters. So as the social service director, how will you get people to go down to for their weekly services? Because the truth is that humans are selfish, sadly. How will you want to get people to go down for these services? Okay, think about it. My next question is to Wei Xuan. I think you brought up a very good point of the spirit of things. To summarize it, I think it was a spirit of altruism, that smaller comms need money, but they can't give the manpower to support what sponsors are looking for. And ideally, you want the whole to support each other by having bigger comms, helping out those smaller comms in fulfilling what the sponsors need. And I think that's ultimately what we want to do as a whole. But similarly, unfortunately, we are selfish. So how do you think, what are your plans in getting comms to help out other comms in fulfilling these kind of things? Yep, thank you.
Can I just ask a question? Sorry, this is something like I'm actually not familiar with, but which specific com actually has activities that last throughout the summer? Are they all?
Yeah,
as in my 5 committees, you mean, or Ben?
No, I'm only asking about your committees because service happens throughout the year. As in, just because we have exams doesn't mean we shouldn't help the other people, because it's compared to like events that we organize in hall. Because it's finals, we can take a break and let everyone study well. We can't take a break from service. So that's a problem that I feel the SSD faces as compared to the rest of the JCRC members. So that's why the question is only meant for you.
Just give me a moment.
Amos, can you repeat just one more time? Sorry, maybe like a shorter version.
So in short, is what are your plans in getting bigger comms who have the manpower to help support in fulfilling the needs of sponsors, to help the smaller comms in fulfilling those needs?
Okay, so so you brought up a great point. People are selfish, definitely. So the thing is, right, this is unavoidable. Like, it's a part of like human nature. We cannot avoid being selfish. So the thing is, right, we have to separate the self from the equation. People involved in sponsorship, right, this is a proposal and an idea that needs to be worked out and fleshed out, check the feasibility and all this. So you need to remove the self from the equation. People do not work for themselves, but the purpose of their committee is for providing money for others. What this is indicating towards is a separate committee for sponsorship. So there will be complications in terms of point allocation, manpower, money distribution. These are all big issues. Yeah, and it will kind of complicate budget. Yeah, but how we do this, is precisely that, to take sponsorship out of the individual committees, create a committee of people who work to source sponsorship for Yusof. And these individual committee people, right, will be attached to committees for sure. So they are working in sponsorship with affiliation with committees in Yusof based on the need. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that part of sourcing makes sense. But let's say some sponsors want people to attend their workshops, things like this, and that's the main problem that.
Yeah, so this is the next thing actually. I have this idea for event that is separate. It's a separate event. So like we have compulsory hall events, conversations by dinner, sorry, yeah. So actually, the attendance for this is pretty poor. As in, it's not poor, it's because it's compulsory. But like the willful attendance is not good. That's why they're compulsory. So one way to actually leverage on this, right? What do people in hall care about other than themselves? Is each other. So one thing that I am actually quite passionate about, and I think will solve quite a number of issues in hall, is implementing a kind of a TED Talk kind of session. Except the TED Talk, right? The E is like a EH. It's like a TED Talk. Yeah. Okay. So this provides an avenue for workshops, for sponsors to come down to share to an audience. But where do we get our audience? Yeah, TED Talks open up to residents. Yeah, there are a lot of people in Yusof that was mentioned at the last rally that I really, really liked. There's a lot of people with unique talents, skills, interests that aren't, I guess, not really celebrated. They aren't valued enough. They should be valued more. And this provides an avenue to express themselves in a way to let people, their friends or friends of other people who are also speaking, to kind of appreciate these people more and let these people be a little more expressive of their own skills and interests. Yeah, this can be anything like up to approval by, I would assume, whoever is running the event, which would be JCRC. Yeah, so this would solve this sponsorship issue, hopefully, if the event can turn out well. Yeah, by providing an avenue for sponsors to come down to address residents, and for residents also to express themselves and to bring down audience. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Asian. Okay, I think you can answer it.
Okay, so that's a good point. So I think the first obvious thing, obviously, right, would be to offer more points for those to attend these sessions. But I think one good method would be to sort of split the group into like two groups. So maybe we have an interview, like I mentioned, that we will interview all those interested in the CCA. Then we ask, what are your commitments like? Are you able to attend during the summer? So during the main term, which one are you more free? Then maybe we split them into two groups. And then maybe like I'll assign like a subhead, to take charge of the group that's going for summer and the main group. And so now we have like two separate groups. I think that should, solve the problem.
I just ask you guys, this is actually the EVC one, the IRB service, and I think this is just something I didn't know as well. I just learned it from the last meeting we had with the OEVC, leaders. So I think it's hard work for EVC because it's voluntary, services and so on. They really need to put a lot of efforts into it. And for the summer, because now the students have a lot of opportunities to actually expose to different things during the summer because they are great time. So they can go for internship and they can go overseas, they can do this and that. So we have less and less people who actually stay in the hall. You guys probably already know during the summer. So that's actually bring a challenge to elderly service because elderly service always continues, without break. And this is the first year we actually won't provide elderly service during this summer. Okay, I think you guys should know. But is there any good idea? You brought up one idea, but I'm just thinking about something else. Okay, I'm thinking about FLAG. Okay, FLAG is also the team that work for voluntary services and so on. So is that something that makes sense to think about like EVC, elderly service, and Clementi Mines that's which tag along with the EVC together and to work with a flag team through the summer. So I think that's something I just come up, just came to my mind. I don't know whether it works or not, but I think that's something you guys should think about to create new things. Because the world is changing right now, and the students have a lot of different opportunities. This is exactly why that comes with like commitments, from the hall presidents. So we must come up with new dynamic frameworks that allow them to continue to work. And you guys have to move away from, not just looking at your own CCA group, the group that you are in charge of, but looking at as full picture, because you guys are GCRC members. Okay? And think about as a whole, and how things can be break into different teams, or should be integrated, or maybe we need additional things we need to add in your new teams. So that's something you guys must. I feel like this is something you guys must think about, because that's where the things goes, right? You can merge things and you can break things, and certain new teams that can be in as well. And certain things maybe it just doesn't exist anymore. So then you have to think about whether this CCA group should be there or not. I think that happens all the time. Even for the department, in the faculty, we have to every year we have to review our modules and so on. We cannot keep saying we just offer this module. That's it. Because we just have these faculty members, we just have these faculty members. We only just offer these modules and nothing else. But we also have to look at new world because it's changing and new technology comes. Then we have to keep adding and removing old stuff too. Okay, I think the GCRC members really play this critical role. Okay? And I just, it's not a question, but more like a comment to let you guys to think about beyond the CCA group you're in charge and think about our role. Would you be able to think there's a better way of looking at things and continue things?
Okay, thank you, Master. Okay, so I think Eunice has a question.
Who's Eunice?
Sorry, no more.
Okay, so this question is to the two VPs. Okay, so I was thinking a lot about excellence, right? So a lot of people, when they think of excellence, right, they think of excelling in one thing that they're good at. So I know a lot of dancers who just want to dance and they don't really care about a lot of stuff lah. So two of you, right, who have stepped out of like what you all normally do. My question is, what made you step out of it, and how are you going to transfer this to the next batch of leaders who might just want to stick to their own box lah?
So Amor, you're addressing this to everyone?
To the two VPs.
Oh, two VPs.
As in two potential VPs.
Okay, thank you. Okay, could you summarize the question one more time? One last time.
Okay, so what did you all step up of your normal comfort zone of what you're normally doing, and how are you going to transfer that or teach them to the next level of much more specific?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, firstly, I joined Hall, Yusof. Actually, I didn't really know which hall I was going to. So, same as most people here, I was sort of like pulled in, like from my friend lah. So yeah, she's already graduated, so I don't really have to talk about it. So like, initially my intention of joining Hall is just solely for sports. But then, when I first came to Yusof through exposure camp, the camp was really fun for me lah. And then like, I really made new bonds together with my campmates that eventually became Yusofians as well. And then like, our seniors then were also very open to for us to try new things lah. So basically, we were very persuaded to try new things. So like, dance was never in my thought. I mean, to be honest, even if you ask me to try dance now again, I would honestly say that I wouldn't. But as in, I still am proud that, for the fact that I actually tried it at least once in my life. So I actually participated in REC and DP. So how will I pass this to to the next future leaders? So basically, as in, I think it's like things that they mentioned in the previous rally as well. So we really need to, we can't see, leaders can't see everything about just their niche, which was what I mentioned in my speech just now. So as in, we don't have to be the ones to do what we don't like, but we shouldn't shut down other committees and other groups. Basically, if you're sports, don't go and condemn culture. If you're culture, don't go and condemn sports. Yeah, I think recently the things is becoming like that because some seniors are like, okay, this event is small, don't need to go on. Yeah, so I think that's the negative point about Hall. As in, I don't have a concrete answer on how I would promote this to the leaders, but as in, I feel like if I'm genuine enough and I share my experiences, and in the end it's still really up for the leaders to take in my point of view, which also comes to the question on Arun just now on the few sentences to sell Yusof to incoming freshies. To be honest, I really don't have an answer to that 2 sentences, but I feel like we don't have to hard sell Yusof to freshies first place, and the approach of selling Yusof is not about how Yusof is a sports hall or we are good at sports culture or even EVC and all. And I think to me, how I would sell Yusof to incoming freshies is just being genuine and share my experiences and memories in hall. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks to
Hey, Amol, could I clarify again? Sorry, one thing. When you say like comfort zone, right? What do you mean by that?
Not much comfort zone, but what you're mostly known for lah.
Okay. So that's actually a great point. What is Yusof mostly known for? Can I ask you? Okay lah. Just for the sake of entertaining this question, sports. What am I most known for? Sports. Okay. So I actually don't like this. Just as much as Yusofians don't like to be associated as a sports hall, I don't like to be associated as a sportsman. Why? My participation in cultural CCAs, right, I'm quite sure it's actually more than most people in hall, other than the hardcore dancers. I'm in band every year. I was in REC, I was in DP my year 1, 2 items. I was in DU this year. Yeah, committees, okay, I haven't had the opportunities to join committees, but I took part in last year's The Associate. Yeah. So I don't like this idea of a comfort zone, and I don't like the idea of labels on people. And I think that this is an issue that Yusof faces, not because it's a problem with Yusof, but it's a problem with people. People create groups. They group themselves, and this is why they become selfish. We become sportswomen and men and women. We become dancers. We become service people. And what happens is that we look at ourselves as one type and look at others as something different. Yeah. So it's not about, I guess, comfort zones. It's more about seeing that I'm a Yusofian, you're a Yusofian. We like different things, we do different things, and that's okay. Yeah. Things are different, but not less. You know, I put this kind of jokingly on my Facebook bio, but it's actually very important to me. Yeah, people are different, but not less. We're all Yusofians, no matter what we do, and such, we should include Yusof inside our in-group, so that when we are selfish, because we will inevitably be selfish, we think about everyone in our group that we associate with ourselves, all the Yusofians. Yeah. How do I pass this on to the next generation? I really think it's about leading by example, and not just standing up on a stage, giving a speech about inclusivity, about trying new things, about working hard, all this. That's not what it's about. That's why that's one time. What happens when people when people see somebody do things one time, they see it and like that guy is exemplary. But that's not what we are striving for. What we are striving for is consistency. For people to start to adopt this culture, right? What we want is a culture. It needs to be consistent and ubiquitous throughout the hall. So we need to impart this firstly in ourselves. We gotta lead ourselves to do it so that we inspire the people around us, and that spreads to the rest of the hall. Yeah, so it's really about leading by example, but not just leading, but most importantly being consistent.
Okay, thank you, Shen. Okay, Amos has a question first.
I'm Amos from B Block, and this question is directed to Wei Kang. Okay. In your speech and your previous answers, there's little mention about expats, and when people mention social services, people actually they kind of refer mainly to just EVC wings, lah. Okay. So my first question is, what do you know about expats, or rather, what do they do throughout the year? And also, the second part to this is that because fundraising is a basis for their whole project throughout the whole year, and they've been struggling to find sufficient funds for their NGOs. Even though expats is pretty much self-run, do you have any plans to help expats in any way?
Okay, yes, I agree with that. One thing that I've known is that I keep mentioning EVC and whatnot, is simply because I think expats as a CCA, right, already has that recognition. Now, when you talk about, sorry, can you repeat how I would help fundraising? Yeah. I can answer the first part of the question now. Is that, sorry, can you repeat the first part of the question? Okay. So I know that it's a group that they have two major activities. One of them is overseas CIP. And then, now this is one thing like I spoke to one of my members, Jane. I think she said that they have also, throughout the term, right, smaller scale CIP activities. Can you correct me on that? Yeah, and sorry, for the second question, could you give me a bit more time? Thank you.
I would like to answer like Arun's question just now about like how would I market all in 2 brief sentences, and I totally like agree with what Suha said. With like hall cannot be just marketed in 2 sentences, or like for me, at least for me, I think it's quite hard to do that, and like it depends on, not depends on, but like if let's say we want to bring in somebody and like and we have the throughout like the time of summer to actually talk to that person and convince that person, right? Then I would encourage whoever that I intend to pull in to come down to Yusof to maybe attend like some of the events that are occurring through that happens through summer, and hopefully like with that effort and that genuine interaction, like they would be convinced to stay in hall. But otherwise, I feel that if it takes that much effort to convince someone to come into hall, then they don't feel something for us, then like what is the point of trying so hard to pull them in as well? Yeah.
Okay,
Hello. Yeah, hi, I'm Fong. Yeah, so just to I think we have two candidates running for VP position, and I just wanted, and I feel like I'll preface the question with the fact that I think both of you are very qualified for the position, but I think everyone here would want to know and would want you guys to share maybe a bit more about why you think somebody would vote for the other candidate.
Okay, who would like to? Okay, sure. We can answer the other part of the question first.
Okay, yeah, so actually forgive me, I'm still learning, so I don't really know much about experts. I just learned about it because I'm from an EVC background. But what I think that the situation is right now is that experts is self-run, and hence, as an SSD, right, what I can do is actually support them in terms of admin, chase them for deadlines and whatnot. Because their activities, right, are mainly decided by 3 heads, correct? And so I don't have much room to interfere. So I think what I can do is, take a sideline role for this, and I know it's a bit sad to say that, but I think my main focus will be on EVC and Green Com. But I will still support them with administrative matters. Thank you.
Okay, I'll answer Feng's question. So, okay, about the salvation, obviously from today you can see that he's a better speaker than me. He's more charismatic. You probably see him more than me, because if you're in every sport and in every sport, you probably see him. Okay, as well as culture, he's doing more culture stuff than me as well. Okay, and yeah lah. So, and he also mentioned in his speech that he was from Bash and he has sort of like marketing experience and has already had contacts outside, which makes him have a higher advantage over me in terms of the main roles as an external VP lah. Yeah. Yep. That's about it.
Honestly speaking, I'm gonna be very frank. Yusof voting is pretty like low lah, the voter turnout. Yeah. And look at the rally attendance here. How many people really know what me and Sawala believe in, what we're working for, what we're running for? Maybe 70% of people here, not even everyone here. Yeah, so I actually come into this election not expecting to lose, but I believe that I'm at a back foot. Yeah, for sure. Because I have ground to make up for. Yeah. Why, you can ask me personally. Maybe it's just me thinking a little negatively towards myself and maybe people's perception of me. But why would people vote for Ziwa over me? It's about relationships. I don't have a lot of close friends in hall. Yeah, I can count my close friends on a handful, maybe 2 hands at most. But I don't have, I'm not like super sociable. I don't have good, yeah. I think it's that the amount of people who will think about me and say like, I really want to support him and I want to vote for him is very little. Yeah. But I believe that, like Ziwa said, I'm really passionate about this role, not just as a position in JCRC, but about expanding these sponsorship responsibilities and outcomes that Yusof has the potential for, and I don't think are meeting.
Okay, thank you, Asian. Okay, Sean has a question.
Hey, hello, I'm Sean from B Block. My question is directed at Wei Kang. So, you really have shown that how much you know about the EV side, but being in JCRC is not just about your own role, not just your social service. It also requires to know a lot of stuff about hall also. So, based on just now, some of your response, I'm not too sure whether you really know about what's going on in hall, about what other sports, other cultural, other comms are actually doing. So I'm not sure whether you have sufficient knowledge about it. So my question is really, how ready are you to take up the role in JCRC, given the amount of knowledge you have about hall?
thanks for your question. Yeah, this is a good point actually, and it's something I'm willing to admit. You know, in semester 1, I did not really take part in many activities. You know, it's only semester 2 that I started. You know, I think because at that point in time, you know, my blockhead wanted someone to run for BASH, so I decided to take up the role, and then I became more active. When you talk about experiences, I feel like, you know, I have experience in, you know, many different types of CCAs. You know, I was in soccer, I was in DP Logs, I did dance, but as a logistics member, you know, I saw, you know, how it was run and everything, and also I'm taking up the challenge of becoming Logs head next semester. That will be an exciting thing. Now, when you talk about, I understand, you know, but I also actually wanted to clarify with regards to expats, because, you know, I always thought it was a self-run thing, you know. So, you know, as a SSD, right, you know, I'm not really supposed to interfere, okay. So that's like the status quo right now. But having mentioned that, now I will still think of things, try to think of ideas to help improve the CCA, okay. And hall activities, you know, I feel like I participate in quite a number. We talk about what's the recent one, the supper. Yeah, I think that was the only thing, I'm proud to say that's the only thing this semester that I didn't attend. I actually attended, you know, I attended the compulsory events, right? I attended all of them, 3 of them. I don't know why, but I was actually interested. So yeah, that's one thing I'm proud of. So when you talk about JCRC, I do feel like, you know, one weakness that I admit is that, you know, I'm pretty much somewhat of a control freak. So this will be a challenge, you know, having to work with others. But I'm still learning, you know. I understand that, you know, people with, you know, headstrong personalities, you know, we can sometimes come into conflict. But, you know, over the years, you know, having learned to be a team player and whatnot, you know, I've slowly tried to, you know, tone down, learn the perspectives of others, and I think being the most junior member will actually give me the chance, you know, to learn more from the seniors. I think Cheng Tat and I will be the youngest, and, you know, that's a good opportunity for us to learn. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Wei Kang.
What? Honestly, I am ready to work with any of them. Like, I think both of them are, as in, this is not like just a politically correct answer, but I am truly like ready to work with any of them, and I know that both of them will have my back, and I know that I can trust like both of them. Just that they do have their strengths and weaknesses, and like with either of them in the team, there will be different problems. And so I think it's not so much of like who I want, but like what the hall actually wants. Like after listening to like the both of them. Yeah.
Okay, in the interest of time, we'll be accepting one last question. Toya, you want to answer?
Okay, since it's going to be the last one, right, then I'll just put it out for y'all as something to think about. Should like all of y'all get elected into JCRC or one of y'all? One of the PT. Okay, no, as in, from my experience, it's 2 years, right? Since last year's JCRC ready, all the way until this year's JCRC ready, right? There's been a constant talk about like being like excellent in everything we do, be it sports or culture, and like now the new debate is bringing social service into it also. But I don't think think if y'all realize, but there's a lot of contradiction in that because you want to excel in everything, but inevitably something's gonna suffer. And like, unpopular opinion, this year as a sports person, we have suffered a lot lah. Every sport really had a lot of headache, and as a sports team, Raymond really had a very tough time. But on the other hand, Amor had like, in my opinion, like a really great year. Like there were so many great things. I was so impressed by drama, and like I was like,
yes, drama.
Yeah, I was very impressed by drama, and like even though I couldn't make it for DP, right, I went to like make people video it for me so that I can watch it because I was like genuinely really wanted to watch it. So y'all may not have a solution now, but y'all need to think about it. How can you reconcile this without giving up something else?
Okay, so so inherently we cannot excel at everything because you must sacrifice something. That's why. So how do you? Sorry.
No, okay. So how can you ensure that we excel? We have our culture. Because it seems like you are putting a lot on yourself. Like you want to do a lot, but can y'all really do that?
Yes, you can.
Actually, can I answer your question? Do you mind?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a very limiting mindset. It's a very dangerous pitfall to fall into. Thinking that you need to give something up to earn something else, right? It's very.
Oh, sorry. That's not what I meant. As in, how do you ensure that we don't inevitably let it happen?
I mean, it's not inevitable.
But as in, from what we have seen, as in, as someone who is not a leader, is a member and everything, this year, yeah, as in, but this year, we have suffered a lot. As in, not just sports, but our comms also. And yeah, and it's like a bit unpopular opinion, but how can we make sure that, okay, even though it's not idealistic that you can cater to every Yusofian, but how can you make sure that you cater to your current Yusofians while trying to like create a whole new culture for your new incoming Yusofians? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but what do you mean by suffer?
What you suffer, yes.
Yeah.
You need to define what you suffer first. What you guys suffer, you know?
Okay, so what I mean by that, right, is that in terms of intake, this year sports has a very hard time. In terms of training, there was a lot of communications. And in terms of retaining our current batch of talents is also a very huge problem. Yeah.
But I feel like retaining talent in sports in like culture or like culture, it's not like, how to say, it doesn't really affect each other, as in it really is dependent on who we take in that year and everything. But I don't think there's a compromise between like sports or culture or comms even. Yeah, so as in that's my take on like what you said.
Yeah. I just wanted to like know what everybody thinks about it.
Can I rephrase it? I think the question, I will rephrase it in a way. I think I may have a way to say it. I think this issue actually brought up in the previous the last session of rally. And one of the things that our IG and DP are normally they overlap with each other, right? So the practice for DP and practice for IG that basically all at pretty much in December and January. And these two big events actually pick up each one probably pick up about 200 to 300 residents in the hall. And there was challenges that in terms of venue booking, there were challenges about, which training the member goes, and so on and so forth. And this is something brought up before as well. So I guess that's what you say, if you promote the culture, that will be, the sports team will suffer. Is that what you mean? So I guess something related to that along this line. But what I think, Wesley actually, suggests that we look at the yearly calendar to try to be able to have this momentum going. So what happens to our hall events, we have really big period in December, January, and February. And quiet period probably, before in the first semester. Then this year actually Amal did a pretty good job because after the IAG and so on, she still have quite a number of events for the cultural side. Quite a number, she creates a quite number of new events for the cultural side to keep a momentum going. So I guess this is something we should think about. Whether we should spread out the events across the entire year calendar. And so that it don't overlap so much, and so that everybody will have a chance to participate and so on. We keep the momentum going from beginning of the year and going to some peak period. We still have the momentum going as well throughout it until probably early April. I think that would be something that hopefully that's something you want to see. No.
Yes, okay, I think she agrees. Okay, so on that note, we will end the election today. Okay, thank you everyone for coming today. Thank you for showing your support. The voting link will be out tonight, so do remember to vote for the candidates in front.